Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Between Realities, the VR podcast of your dreams, and the good ones, the good kind, like you want. Welcome to the show. My name is Alex VR. I am one of your hosts. The show has two hosts, and the second one is this fellow sitting next to me, and his name is Skiva. Skiva, how are you doing, sir?
I'm good, man. I'm glad it's Friday. TGIF. It's been a long week, and I'm always just itching to get to the show. You know, it's always about showtime. So
TGIBRF, everyone. It is a pleasure to have you here with us today.
I love that.
Victory XR is here in the house. Woo! What's up, dude? Thanks, Victory XR, for being here. Duty does the Friday podcast day.
Duty.
Just
playing with Duty last night. We hopped through some Neos, did some world surfing with Void Citizen and Duty. It was great. Fantastic times.
I love it. Lissa VR is here, accidentally commenting on her Family Funhouse account. And then she came back on Lissa VR. Hello, my lady, and thank you for being here, as always, with us. Your pal with the verified check in the house.
What's up, your pal?
Your pal. Looking forward to getting to know you a little bit better in the future. Wink, wink.
Nudge, nudge.
Texas Green Tea. Hey, Texas Green Tea. He has another name, too, right? I think you have another name, Texas Green Tea. Maybe you don't. I don't know. Short Stack VR. Thank you for being here. Space Denizens in the house. Obscure Nerd VR. What's up, Andy?
What's up,
Good
Andy?
to see you, dude. Paradise Decay. When did we make you a mod? I don't know. When did we make him a mod?
In season 1.
Forever.
That shows you how observant
What the
PD
hell?
is.
Paradise Decay. You've always been a mod here, man. Come on. Let's get it. Genghis VR. Hello, Genghis
Hey,
VR.
what's up, Genghis?
Hey, thanks for dropping by. We are huge
Yes.
fans
Big
of
fans,
your
yes.
hilarious stuff. That cat, the cat tracker, dude, killed me. Absolutely killed me.
Good stuff.
Watching that
Good stuff.
rigid model scurrying across the floor.
Or like
Hilarious.
version 2 where it like paws at her at the end.
That was great.
Good stuff. Go check
Sweaty
out our
Nug.
content.
Sweaty Nuggy.
What's up, Sweaty?
Nug JJ in the house. Thanks for being here, dude. Rock versus Reality is here as well. Thank you all so much for joining us today.
Awesome.
Ah, gosh,
Love our peeps.
This is pretty
love the
good
BR
stuff.
peeps.
Should we bring our guest in?
Nah.
No, or should we have anything? I mean, I don't know. Maybe we got important things to say and do before we do that.
Yeah, I suppose we can bring in our guest. I'm super excited to talk to Alexander.
I am too. You know,
Yeah.
I don't know. Fuck it. Everybody, just get this guy in here right now. Let's just quit wasting time. Everybody,
bring that
please
screen down real
welcome
quick.
to Between Realities, Mr. Alexander Clark from Starcade Arcade. Hello.
What's up, Alexander? Oh,
More important things to talk about than me.
There's nothing more important to talk about than
Nothing.
you today. Today
Nothing.
is your day and Starcade Arcade's day. And you know, I usually take a little bit more time to like hype it up, right? And he does this and he does that and everybody welcome to the show. But like, we all know what you do because Starcade Arcade is so present in the VR community that if you're here in our chat, you have certainly been where Starcade Arcade also is. You guys are in everything. You do social media, you make games for all of us, and you send games out to all the creators and stuff. So
I'm going to say by far they are like the most present developers within the community, which is super awesome, right?
Yeah.
Like making games for the community and also being a part of it at the same time instead of just being behind the scenes. So I applaud you, sir.
I appreciate that. I mean, I definitely have to give credit. So my co-founder and best friend, he's the one who does most of the talking. I'm typically in this dark void of a cave doing most of the programming.
nice.
But yeah, he's always super involved, and you know, I love seeing everything the
Nice.
community's doing and supporting it. It's so exciting for us.
Very cool. You know, I would have guessed that it was the opposite, but see,
Right?
What the hell do
that
I
a
know?
lot. Yeah, we get that a lot. Like we've gone different places and they've seen the two of us together, and then he can, I guess when we're out, sometimes he looks like the more reserved one. They're like, "Oh, you're the developer," and then you must be the sugar talker. I'm like, "No, I'm the coder."
I don't think
But, you know,
anyone
sometimes
like.
I'm forced to get behind a camera. That's how it works.
I don't think anyone really gets that mixed up between Skiva and I. You know, like
Yeah.
I think, you know, if I think one of us is the talker, it's probably going to be me. And if one of us was a developer, although you're not really a developer, but you push buttons, you
I
do
push lots of buttons.
technical things, you know.
Yeah, I fly the ship, dude, because without that, we'd crash into planets, right?
And
that'd be
no
bad.
one wants to crash into
important.
planets, except like Darth Vader or something, maybe.
Yeah, right.
Laszlo 216's here. What's up, Laszlo?
Oh, nice. What's up, buddy?
Thanks for dropping into the chat and joining us. Oh, and David Donald made it live. Yo,
Heck yeah,
David
what's
Donald, thanks for joining. So before we like dive in, right, to Starcade Arcade, Space Slurpies, and talking with Alexander, we should probably mention that this week we have had the tremendous honor of announcing that we were selected as a finalist for the VRAwards this year for social VR influencer of the year.
Of the year. Like, what? Why does that even happen?
Awesome.
What?
Way to go, guys.
Thank
you, man.
You know, we're pretty realistic about this situation, right? Like, I mean, it would be amazing to walk away with the honor of saying that we won VR Social Influencer of the Year, right? Like that would be cool.
super sick.
But
Right.
Thrill Seeker is gonna destroy this thing. I mean,
yeah.
I think. I don't know.
Well, but,
you know?
but we also got Kaz and Sherry, right? We got Nathy with almost 1 million subscribers. What does
Sure.
Thrill Seeker have for subscribers? Like over 500,000 now? Or
That's
something?
a
I don't know.
shit
That's
load.
ridiculous. Like mathematically, with
And
a
his
public
fans
vote,
are so popular. Or he's super popular. His fans are so passionate. Like he's like, you can see the engagement.
You're underselling yourself, though.
Nah, I'm just trying to stay realistic.
Okay, a lot of great influencers like bringing great content, but like how many of them play games and edit videos? I mean, what's great about your show is it is mixed reality. I mean, you're on a bloody spaceship. Like, give yourself some credit.
It's not mixed reality here. This is a spaceship.
You know, I appreciate that sentiment,
Yes.
Alexander. I really do. And you know, and I gotta say, like, we know that, you know, we put our hearts and souls into this, right?
For
like
sure.
we dumped so much time, so much energy, so much money, you know, so much passion and love into this project. And to see, like, we are our own biggest fans. Let's just be honest. Like, we love what we do. So
I sign autographs for myself.
yeah, he does. Well, you know, like Skiva has like a Between Realities shirt that he sleeps in every single night. You know, like that's his like it's his bibby. And so we're like our own biggest fans. So to be recognized for the hard work and energy and love that we're putting into the show means so much to us. Like, we were floored when we
Absolutely
got the message
floored.
that we were selected for this thing. And you know, the community support that we've gotten from the people within the industry is like, it's like enough to like make me emotional. Like, it is so amazing to watch so many people that we love and respect give us such incredible feedback and, you know, recognize us for doing good things. You know what I mean?
Dude, Nathy even put out a tweet, and he's like one of the people that's up for this award, saying vote for these guys. I was shocked.
Right.
Like,
So,
wow.
so let's not get it twisted. I don't mean to undersell us, right? Because I think we're great.
It's well deserved. It is honestly.
I appreciate that, and it means so much to us, dude. But we just got to be real about this. Thrill has been killing the game for years, and he has such a loyal following. Like, you know, we don't have the audience yet, right? Like, maybe we've got the content, but this thing is a popular vote situation, and we are certainly not the most popular kids at the table. Even though maybe we might, you know, deserve to be at the table. We're not the most popular ones.
I'm friggin' honored to be at that table.
So
Either way,
honored.
man.
So honored. So anyway, maybe we should roll our little clip that we made, which is like our our judges video. You know, we didn't really like get an opportunity to share this or anything, so we'll just give everybody a quick look at this video that we made for the VRAwards. Kind of just like thanking them for naming us as finalists.
Let's do some Inception stuff here.
Yeah, let's do it.
Have us within us.
We'll be right back. Hello, everyone. I'm Alex VR,
And I'm Skiva.
and we are Between Realities.
Thank you to the VRAwards and to AIXR for nominating us for VR Social Influencer of the Year.
That is amazing. You know, our podcast really was inspired by our own conversations about virtual reality and the potential of virtual reality, just kind of hanging out at Skiva's house in the backyard. Isn't that right?
That's right, dude. This technology really represents something way more profound than an immersive way to play games.
It's true. You know, inside these bricks that we're strapping to our heads isn't just a new way to experience media, but could potentially be the beginning of a new way to experience being human. And on our podcast, we really like to indulge in real conversations surrounding VR, with topics ranging from ethical practices to social impact, health, wellness, and spirituality, and stuff that takes us even further down the rabbit hole.
Each and every week, we invite someone pushing the boundaries of virtual reality to join us in these conversations and give us their insight and perspective as we get to know the people at the forefront of this digital frontier.
We really do owe a lot to our guests for making this podcast what it is, and not only our guests, but the VR community and our viewership. And we're truly honored to be nominated for this award as passionate members of the VR community ourselves.
The Between Realities podcast is currently in its 4th season, and we invite you to come take a part in the conversation with us at youtube.com/betweenrealities.
There you'll also find some of our other projects, including gameplay live streams, VR event coverage, mixed reality magic, and more.
A vote for Between Realities is a vote for the entire VR community.
That's right. We will see everyone each and every Friday at 3 o'clock Pacific Standard Time for the live broadcast of the Between Realities VR podcast. Thank you again to the VRAwards. It is an absolute honor, and we will see you all very, very soon. Bye.
Oh,
Bye-bye.
short real quick there. Sorry.
Bye-bye. Who was that loser that we flashed? Oh, it was sadly it's Bradley. Oh, hey, what's up, Bradley?
Bradley,
Thanks
what's
for
up?
joining us here for the broadcast. So anyway, vote for Between Realities.
Heck yeah.
It means a lot to us. However, we're just happy to be
Honored, happy, and thrilled, man. I just can't say enough good things.
Yeah.
And man, I just noticed out of the corner of my eye here that Mateo is in the chat and sent us a super chat. Thank you, Mateo.
$5 super chat from Mateo311 says, "Stay awesome, guys," and we will. We'll try to stay awesome, just like our homies over at Starcade Arcade, who are certainly awesome, and we're stoked to get into the show today.
And real quick, guys, if you could head to the link in the description and just real quick, you literally just click a button to sign in with Google or Facebook or whatever the other option is, and then just pick from one of these amazing people that you see here on the screen. Hopefully us, but there's some great people on the bill here. So if you could just take a minute to do that, would be absolutely fantastic. We really appreciate
VRAwards, and you can vote for VR Game of the Year too. That's the other voting thing.
Yeah, good stuff on there.
What do you think, Alexander? Did you vote for Game of the Year?
I think, well, of course. And I think Game of the Year? Oh, that's a hard one. But I still want to sell you all. Seriously, I want to sell you all because, like I said, I think you're doing actual content creation. I mean, you have a virtual character and persona that you're creating and doing a mixed reality. I think that's huge. And I think a lot of people don't understand how much work it takes to pull that off. We know because we've tried with our Orbit character, and then that just sunk my sleep schedule. But you all do it on a consistent basis. And then I also do love the fact that you're not whitewashing your content. You are having authentic conversations. And you mentioned there's obviously lots of influencers out there, but some of them are, you can see they'll edge around touchy subjects, and they'll take different sides. But I think that you all have always brought an authentic and candid conversation and just put things on the table. And that's why people like being on your show, is they feel like it's a place where they can just express their opinion and say, what they're thinking, what they're feeling about XR. And so everybody watching, you should definitely vote for these guys.
Dude, thank you.
Thank you, Alexander.
Thank you.
I mean, I really do preach authenticity, at all times. The truth literally may set you fucking free. There is so much liberation in not worrying about how's someone gonna perceive me? Oh, how's this? Or what's this thing? Just you get in your head about the way to be, the way to act, the way to talk, how authentically you want to present your opinions or your perspective on things. And at the end of the day, you cannot go wrong by just keeping it 100% real as often as possible. I don't want to have anything other than authentic conversations with people in my life. So it's amazing that folks like you, Alexander, can join us for that, and can recognize that it's a safe space, and you can come in here and we can just yuck it up and have a good old time loving the same stuff, because that's really why we're here.
Heck yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah,
it is. And speaking of authenticity, I think your guys' authenticity at Starcade Arcade is evident in your content. You don't shy away from what you think people are going to respond to or anything like that. It's obvious that your style is there. You're oh, this is what we want to do. And you have, like you said, kind of the theme and the lore and the world that kind of transcends your games and stuff, some higher level action there. And I think that all boils down to you guys being willing to stay authentic with your approach to all of this.
You have to. You absolutely do. You have to be authentic to what you want to create and what you want to say. I think, like, as an example, and we're gonna talk about Space Slurpies later, but I'm going to share something that I actually haven't shared on any show yet, and it's that originally we received some consultancy and we received some feedback from big companies that start with an O. I won't mention who.
Start with an O.
We
and
were
with a
told
less.
that we shouldn't make Space Slurpies. This was early in development. They were like, this is not the type of game that people want to play. You should focus on something else. And that was a very tough conversation for my co-founder and I, because it was something that we believed in and we wanted to create. We just had this vision for it. And it's one of those times you just have to say, you know what? I have a vision. I have something that I want to create. I'm going to stick with it and do it anyway. And so I've decided I'm going to start sharing that story, because now Space Slurpies is easily our most popular, most widely adopted game on the most headsets for us. And so I want to tell people that, like, yeah, believe it or not, people told us not to do it, and we did it anyway. And so encouraging people, like, if you got something you're passionate about, you just got to chase it and do it.
Yeah, and that's got to be tough, man, because meanwhile you've got a hypothetical largest VR company in the world telling you that what you're doing is basically a waste of time. So, like, who else do you take the advice from? Like, they are the ones that are, like, leading the charge, so that has to be a tough conversation.
And it goes to show, man, follow your passion, right? No matter what anyone says, do what's in your heart and do you, So
Yeah,
applaud
absolutely.
you again, sir.
Even when it's hard, it can pay off.
Right. Well, and and I've said this before, and I'm not really afraid to say it, because I feel like there's a lot of people out there who probably share my sentiment, and I would love for them to maybe start thinking a little differently about it. But when I took a first glance at Space Slurpies, I was like, there's no way that's fun. Like, you just look at it and it's like so simple, like such a simple approach. You call it Snake in VR, doesn't exactly sell it. It's like, okay, Snake from Nokia, like, are you old enough to know what that is? And if so, did you really have fun with that game, or was it the only thing you had? So anyway, I'm not trying to bash it. What I am saying is that to me, it didn't seem like something I would love. I was like, okay, simple approach. Yeah, it's very like cartoony art style. I don't know. And getting into that shit, it was addicting, man. Like, and I'm so happy to tell people, like, hey, you should play Space Slurpies, because it's cheap, it's approachable, it's comfortable, and now there's a Between Realities level in the game. Thank you so much, by the way, dude, for including us in that.
Yes.
That's amazing.
Yeah, definitely. It's an honor. It was a really fun map too that we're able to create. And when what you said is, I'll just say you're not the only one, and that's something that we've tried to figure out. Like, why does the game not look more interesting than it is? And it almost is a like playing it, seeing it to believe it type of thing.
Yeah.
Most people kind of look and they're like, okay, I don't know if that's my type of game, and then they play and they're like, this is actually really fun.
Yeah, once you play it, the game completely sells itself at that point. It's amazing, and in that spirit, maybe you should consider releasing a demo, because the second someone gets in there, it's sold. It's a done deal.
Yeah,
they're gonna buy it.
That's true.
I agree, especially at the price point, and like I just said, now there's a fucking Between Realities level, which is amazing.
Wow.
And
It's so
it's
cool.
the game's first ever boss fight, and
It's
stars
the first boss level.
It's starring
Heck
Dickhead
yeah.
Robot too. Like, how
Heck,
fucking cool is that?
that is
Dickhead
amazing.
Robot's actually in a game.
Oh no!
Oh, you gotta be. All right, I should have probably known, right?
We shouldn't have even said
Yeah,
it.
we should have fucking known.
That's what we
Did
get.
someone mention me? Ha. The single greatest part of Space Slurpies. I have arrived.
You are not the single greatest part of Space Slurpies, dude.
You're not the single greatest part of anything ever.
No, you're not. Like, this game is good for a number of reasons before you even came around. So I don't know what you think. What does he have to
Dude,
stand on there for that?
Nothing. He's an idiot.
No, I mean, the Between Realities level is incredible, right? And
It's super good,
He's a
man.
part of that.
This game was a lost cause until I arrived. Now they finally have a challenging enemy in the game.
I don't know, bro, because this game has multiplayer and really good multiplayer, and you're not better than humans or more challenging than humans, so I think you're full of it.
Right. And, I mean, there's like, you can tell that developers really just put a lot of
I don't know what you mean by personality, but I saw the Starcade Arcade TikTok page. I would tell them to stick to game design, but all of their games are made for babies.
They are not made for babies. Does Skiva look like a baby to you?
I love Space Slurpies. I am not a baby, man. I really am a fan of this game. I truly am.
What I will say though is that it is perfect for first timers.
It definitely is.
Like we just mentioned,
Or
it doesn't
people that
mix
don't
it-
want to shoot things all the time. You know what I mean? Like, we need more games like this. We really do.
Dickhead Robot is being an especially big dickhead today.
He is, man. What's your deal,
yeah,
bro?
like what the hell? Like
Thanks for noticing. I needed to get my hard drive wiped after Starcade Arcade infected me with these worms. Now you'll never get rid of me.
dude?
Ah,
Get rid of
jeez.
him, please,
All right,
Skiva. Please get rid of him.
I'm
I
working on
dare
it.
you to try to defeat me in Space Slurpies.
Please, dude.
I will forever be
Working
the
on it.
greatest enemy in the
No.
game.
Oh, man. I think he's gone. I think he's gone. Let's
Am I
get
back?
Alexander back on
Am
there.
I
You there?
back?
Are you there? All right.
Can you hear me?
Oh, sorry, dude. That's terrible.
Man, those are some cutting words for babies.
Dickhead
Right?
I don't think that's
Robot.
true because I feel like, the younger generation can only play the free games on Oculus Quest, and we made our game paid, so I guess we're catering to adults.
God damn it.
Dude, man, I wish I could keep him out.
Everyone, listen. That's Dickhead Robot. You know him. You hate him, and we're sorry.
Yeah. Sorry. We do everything we can to keep him out, man. These firewalls where we got our firewalls on planet Earth just aren't up to par with some of this alien technology.
Well, I'll tell you what, though, you should take him up on that challenge because this is your opportunity to kind of get revenge for us. You can get into Space Slurpies and defeat Dickhead Robot. You can make him crash and burn into a bunch of fire.
Hell yeah.
And we tried to keep him out of our game too because he came in and he wanted to use a bunch of profanity, and we said, like, dude, we're rated E, we want to be available to all audiences. You can't say these things, but he still found his way in the game. I think our censor filter is working well enough that he keeps his language pretty clean. He will insult you. He says his grandma slurps better than you, and it's kind of true. It's one of the
such
more
a jerk.
challenging levels. Like, I've played it and I can't even defeat him, so I'd be interested to see if anybody else can.
Well,
You're gonna need a couple of buddies though to do it.
Our apologies for this guy getting not only into our show and our show with you, but into your video game, dude. So sorry about that.
Dude,
I know the
it looks so
infection's
great.
spreading.
It
Like,
looks
where's he
so
gonna go
great.
next?
I love all the little DHRs floating around.
Dude, and they're such a pain too because they don't just float around, like they chase you down
Yeah.
and they are brutal. They really are brutal.
Vicious.
So
Yeah.
what? So what makes
they're
this?
faster than some of the other enemies in the game?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna ask. Like, what makes this a boss fight? Like, what makes this different from a different kind of level in the game?
Yeah, so if you're watching the gameplay, there's that scoreboard on the side, and it's actually a combined collective score. So normally when you play Space Slurpies, everybody has an individual score, and it's just elimination, last man surviving, last player surviving. And in this case, you may not want to kill off your friends, because the only way to defeat the DHR and his little minions is to reach that score that's on there, that 7,500. And so it's going to be very hard to reach it if you kill off all your friends. And you have to work together to not run into yourself, not run into the mini DHRs, and then see if you can get them to the final point where you can explode and get them out of our game.
Traveling Man 3775 with a $5 super chat flying in hot.
Oh, heck yeah.
He says, "Real life superheroes." Yeah, that's right. That's me. I protect the world with my slurping skills.
You protected the ship, dude, because we could have had another situation, right? If he didn't get taken out, well, we would have ended up with another crash ship.
So when we made this mixed reality footage, we needed a shot of Dickhead Robot going down. So I was determined, and I literally had to dig deep to make it happen. It is actually pretty challenging.
It is. It's
and
hard.
Pretty challenging.
I was not in
hard.
multiplayer. I was playing it solo, so I was just jamming it, doing my best to get it done as quickly as possible. And it is, dude, seriously, man, you don't even this is you're making video games, right? You've been doing it for a while. Maybe you're used to it. I don't know, but I'm still that kid that could only imagine seeing a representation of your thing in a game. you know? So, and for the record,
and a good game
and a
at
good
that.
chat for sure, you know, but it's like what you guys do to me is like wizardry, you know, like it's kind of like cars too. Like I'm the same way with cars. Like you pop a hood open, dude. Like I have no fucking clue what is going on under there. Like I don't know how to fix my shit, you know. I'm the same with like development. And like I have no idea where to even start with this. So for me, this is like wizardry, and to see our shit brought to life like this in a VR game that's fun to play, that's made with intention, right? Like it's not just like slapped together. Like it's obvious that you took your time and made this good, and like that just means so fucking much to me. And I'll speak for Skiva as well, as like hardcore gamers and like that kid who grew up playing games and can only imagine that, like, you know, you didn't have like a create a character. It's like actually in there, you know, and it means a lot to us, man. So thank you so much.
Oh, that's awesome. No, I'm glad to hear that too. I mean, that makes it worth it to me. It's, I guess it's a cycle, goes back and forth, because even like hearing your immediate reactions on the map and how excited you were about it, it was like, yes, that's why we do this. Like, this is a good thing. And so I'm excited that we can get you in the lineup of our VR friends and special maps. Help get your name out there too.
Yeah, and
it's a fun one.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because we're not the only people in here, right? We got Coffee in VR by Rendered Reality, which is a really cool level because you're playing at the bottom of a coffee cup, and you look up and you see Sean and Tyler like peeking into the coffee cup, and it's really funny and cool. We got like VR Trend Magazine in there. We've got some amazing levels for some great VR content creators by a great VR content creator. So thank you.
I mean, that's the best part about making games is I feel like the conversation we had with everybody you just mentioned, including you all, the question always comes up of like, there's an idea and they're like, well, it'd be cool if you could do, no, I can't do this. And then we'll be like, well, we can, like, why can't we? Like, you can make it anything you want it to be. And so even like with Rendered Reality, you know, when this idea of like a giant coffee cup came up, they're like, well, it'd be cool. No, you can't do something like that. I'm like, no, tell me what you're thinking.
Yeah,
like,
no, keep this going.
Anything is technically possible.
Man, I kind of missed those guys. Like they've been
they've been on hiatus. Yeah, that's one of my favorite VR shows. It really is. That's where I got a lot of my news and stuff. I mean, those guys, they're just such a pleasure to watch and to chat with, and they're just so authentic. And I know, you know, for us, we're all about authenticity, right? And those guys, I love them, man.
Yeah,
really
they're
so
super
awesome.
super nice guys, and I feel like
1000%.
they do a great. They've like hit this perfect crossroads of like kind of like what we do with like conversations that are like comfortable and casual and news. You know, like we don't do a lot of news. We'll talk about things that are happening because we want to talk about it, but we're not like here to give people like the latest and greatest in VR. They're doing that while having comfortable conversations about it as they go. So they've got a good little setup, and
sometimes they have guests and stuff too.
Totally.
So they, you know, and they do product reviews and stuff. They do a lot of great stuff. So can't wait for those guys to come back for sure.
So, you know, Alexander, I want to dive in a little bit more just into the history of Starcade Arcade. You know, I'd like to, you know, like I know a little bit. You know, we had you on the show for a few minutes during our community episode last season. We might have talked a little bit about this stuff, but you know, Skiva and I, you know, we live not next to each other, but near each other, and you know, we're here in the same space making content together, and you guys are in the same space making content together. And a lot of times people assume that we've been friends like forever, you know, just because they have only seen us together on camera, you know. So have you guys been friends forever? Like how, like where do you guys start? To give us a little bit about like the origins and the roots of Starcade Arcade.
Yeah, that's a fun topic, especially because I think we always try to make our content appear as like polished and professional as possible. And so I think people will be surprised sometimes to know just like how grassroots our beginnings are, and probably still are. But so my co-founder and I, we've been friends for like 5-6 years, and it's just we were at a mutual location, and I made an extremely inappropriate joke, and he's the only person in the room who laughed. And I was like, this guy's gonna be my friend. And so I went over and talked to him, and we just started talking about ideas and things like that. And he told me about VR. He's actually who introduced me to VR. And at the time, I was looking to find a project to get more technical. My background, I have like undergrad computer engineering and a master's electrical engineering. So I went to go work for HP, and I was headed down this like management path, which was I mean, great career option, right? Nothing to complain about there. But I wanted to get in touch with like my technical roots again. You know, I felt bad that I wasn't coding. I wasn't doing even like the video to game development that I had done when I was a teenager. And so he started telling me about VR, and then I was like, oh, this is what I should do. I should just try to make a game just to polish up my skills. And we looked around, and you know, we were both fans of StarCraft and strategy games, and we didn't feel like there's anything like that in the space. My favorite book and love the movie is Ender's Game, and I was like, we should create something like that.
Dude. I fucking love Ender's Game.
Really
Literally
good.
my favorite. Yeah,
It
it's
is
so good.
so good.
And so that's when we started with like, that's what we want to create. Now, in hindsight, I think like 2 years after this, my mom would ask me, she was like, son, why did you start with programming in VR, which you'd never done before, on a game engine you've never programmed before, a multiplayer strategy game? And she was like, couldn't you start with something simpler? She was right. There was a lot of learnings with that, but that's what we wanted to create. So we created Starblazer, which right now is just a PC VR game, and our first game. A lot of learnings. It took a few years to really get the mechanics and figure out how to simplify it by going to different game conventions, things like that. 100% of the game was programmed by myself. We'd like start to hire different freelancers as it would grow, and it's like a lot of people I think have started off as a hobby and then looked up one day and said like, you know what, I think I could make this a product. And so that's when we decided, you know what, let's actually like sell Starblazer and see what we can do to bring it further. So we kept growing that, and like I said, a lot of learnings from that game. In some ways, you could say it was a success because we made a strategy game we're proud of. In some ways, you could say it's a failure because it was not super widely received, just in terms of like visibility, because we didn't know what we were doing, right? Brand new indie devs. But it was a great experience in making that, and it's still something we love and future plans, but maybe we'll get that to later. So anyway, so that was Starblazer. And then we were showcasing this in different conventions. And like I mentioned, that's partially where we picked up our learnings, because we would take the strategy game to conventions, a lot of international ones. Like in particular, we were in South Korea trying to show people who only spoke Korean how to play a strategy game, and it was a disaster. And that's when we're like, we need something simpler. And that's when we first hatched this idea for Space Slurpies, because I wanted a game that literally I could just put a headset on somebody and they could play it. And so we started working on Space Slurpies, and then about that same time is when COVID hit. We were on our way to Taipei Game Show. Our flight got canceled. COVID got declared a world pandemic, and the show was canceled. And we were stuck in Taiwan for a little bit, and then we were some of the first people to get quarantined. But that's like, that was at the beginning of COVID when people didn't really get the whole wash your hands for 20 seconds type of thing. And so we wanted to figure out like a way we could help and send a positive message. You know, Brian was telling me about like his family and his kids, like what they're seeing in the media. And that's when we came up with our second game idea, Virus Popper. It's a rail game. It's free. The gimmick is you have to wash your hands for 20 seconds before you can play it. And then you use disinfectants to kill the poppers and the virus. And it's just meant to be like something positive in the midst of what was a very traumatizing, scary time for the whole world. And that was super widely received. One, because we'd figured out how to simplify game mechanics by then. We took all our learnings from Starblazer and we're like, okay, we get what users can and cannot, what that learning curve looks like in VR. And so that was, we took that learning into making that game, and of course made it for free, because this is just about like something to kind of help in whatever way we could the world at the time. But we sprinted fast on it, because a lot of people don't even realize this, but a lot of the stores started shutting down any virus related games, because usually they're like in bad taste or could send the wrong message. We kind of skirted ours in there, and so we're one of the first.
Dude, you guys did this so fast.
Yeah.
Like, I cannot believe how quickly this came together.
Literally completely built and launched the game within 2 weeks. The core mechanics of the game, it was a Friday night, and we came up with this idea. Brandon told me, he was like, I don't know, should we take time away from Starblazer, which we were trying to get it to like the final stage of release. He's like, should we take time away from Starblazer to do this? And we were going back and forth, and he's like, all right, I give you one day, come up with a POC, and let's see like what happens. I got excited about it. I just started chugging Red Bull and then stayed up all night. I sent a game to him the next morning, and he was like, "We're doing this." And so then we just did 2-week sprint and got it out to all the stores as fast as possible. Insanely short development time.
It's amazing.
But good thing to get it out there in that kind of time frame. And then later, that's when, we wrapped up Star Blazer and we had Virus Popper out there. Virus Popper really helped get the studio name out there. People started like going, who are these people? HTC called them like, who are these crazy devs who made a virus game during the pandemic? That's the first time we got a call from HTC and got to know them, because they were like, we just want to meet the devs. Like, this is brilliant.
Wow,
and then,
that's
of course,
so awesome.
all this led up to the creation of Space Slurpies and release and launch of Space Slurpies the following year.
So, I do have I want to like, what was it like? What was the VR game for you? Because you said that Brandon introduced you to virtual reality. You weren't really into it, and he mentioned it to you. Did you have like an oh shit moment like we did? Where like you throw the headset on and it's like your brain melts and everything changes. Like what was the final straw that you were like, yep, virtual reality, that's it?
Yeah, my favorite game at the time was Space Pirate Trainer. I'm just a huge fan of like sci-fi universe, and it was just a fun game. And in particular, the like, oh wow, I need to do this moment was, I had already bought the VR headset because I was like really into it and trying to develop for it. But there's one particular moment where I woke up before work and I was like, I'm going to play VR for like 30 minutes. And I was playing Space Pirate Trainer, and I take off my headset, and I was disappointed to see the real world and go to work. And I was like, this needs to be my life.
Nice.
and then, but then we also just wanted to create like unique things that didn't exist out there yet. I couldn't play the StarCraft in VR that, I want to create. And I was like, well, all right, that's what I got to do then.
Damn. Well,
Ambitious.
there it is.
Heck yeah.
What was it for you? And don't tell me. Oh, was it Pterodactyl Terror? Is that what you're gonna say? If I ask you?
Dactyl Nightmare was what started my initial obsession from when I was a kid, and just really showed me like what the possibilities of the future were going to be like. And then Lawnmower Man came out, and I was like, oh my god, VR, right? And then you had to wait forever for something cool to come out. But then I ended up getting a PlayStation VR right when that came out, because at the time I didn't have a good gaming PC that would run this stuff, and I didn't have the money to go out and just buy a gaming PC, get like a VR headset for it, and so I got a PSVR right on launch. And then what really sold me was the London Heist. And like the London Heist melted my brain like none other. I mean, just being able to interact with things and pick up that stogie and smoke it, right? And like be stuck in a chair with some big guy like screaming in my face, and like driving down a freeway with a gun out a window. Oh my God, dude, it melted my brain. And I will never forget that. I mean, it was just absolutely amazing to me. Amazing.
I've been a gamer my whole life, right? And I mean, VR, I'm going to call it gaming for all intents and purposes of this conversation. But I've always been a gamer, and it's amazing to me to think that there are like some 10-year-old kids who are strapped the PSVR on and played London Heist at 10. I know that is what they're going to be nostalgic for. Like, they're going to be nostalgic about being in other realities already. Wow. Like, in that, like, that's fucking mind blowing to me. Alexander, were you like a hardcore gamer as a kid? Like, have you always been a gamer? Is it something that you picked up later in your life?
It came a little bit later. I think my parents were like, some parents were concerned, you're gonna lose your creativity if you just spend all your time playing video games. They really encouraged me to like create my own things and to explore that. So like I did play video games. I like a Game Boy Advance SP, I think was the first gaming system I really had. But I think you'd be surprised how early I started just developing my own little video games. Just like 2D RPG type of things in middle school.
Wow.
Just because the idea of like creating them fascinated me even more than like playing them.
Wow.
Which I don't know how that makes sense, but that's just kind of how it worked.
You are a developer. That's all there is to it.
From birth.
I guess so. I guess that's what I was meant to be.
A natural born developer.
Wow.
Wow,
That's
so
impressive.
you get nostalgic about the game you made when you were 10, not the game you played when you were 10.
Yeah, I can picture it to this day. It was this little 8-bit game, and every time my character takes a step, the enemies take a step, and you have to like trap them in a little campfires. You know, that was like 7th grade, and yeah, I can still
Wow.
picture
So
it.
you developed a 2D version of Super Hot?
Yeah, right.
Oh, you're right. Never
You
even
were
thought about
first.
it like that. You know,
That's funny, dude. Wow, that's incredible, man. I you know, from a child, so I started on the Atari 2600 when I was really little, and then the NES blew my mind and turned me into a full-fledged gamer for the rest of my life. But I couldn't ever even imagine what it would have been like to create my own video games, and I would have been absolutely terrified to even give it a shot. All I really cared about was playing them and kind of diving into those new realities that were out there for me to explore. And then it's inspiring to hear that there were kids my age that, you know, at that time that wanted to just develop right off the bat. That's amazing. So I'm glad to see you guys kind of on the forefront of this virtual reality technology, right? Because we are at the beginning of this thing. So that's super cool. That is super cool.
So
yeah, the creation part is definitely addicting. Like, I mean, I love video games. Probably my favorite of all time is Minecraft because you can't just build. But even then, there's like times if I go back to play it and I like catch myself, I'm like, I'm still building a world within a video game. I could actually be building my own world in my own video game. And so it's like, as a developer, it's a catch-22 because you almost like keep getting sucked back into the development, knowing what you can make.
Wow.
well, so that being said, what are you going to spill on our show? You know, what are you guys working on? What can we expect from Starcade Arcade here in the future, you know?
I think one thing that's really important for us is all of our games are in a connected universe. You see like characters show up across them. You know, some of them you definitely see in all 3 games, and it's very much so implied that even though they're very different genres of games, they are still part of the same universe and a part of that shared story. So one of the things that's important for us is to continue that legacy, which means when we make a new game, it's always going to be a new genre. But we also are not going to neglect our old games. True to the name Starcade Arcade, the vision is we want to keep all of our games updated, on par with the newest technology, with new features and development, and to keep that shared universe traveling together. And so, without saying too much, because I don't want my co-founder to kill me, but like I would say the old games will get some love, and we have a lot of plans. Definitely, obviously, there's plans for new games too. But you know, we want to elevate what we have as well to what our original vision was. And Starcade Arcade's bigger now. You know, at one point it was just me in my apartment coding, but now we've got other people working with us, and we can make some of the things that I dreamed about 3 years ago actually happen.
All right. Well, virus
cool.
popper vaccination expansion confirmed. You know, other expansions on the way. You know, one of the cool things that happened that you guys, for you guys that I don't think we've gotten to on the show yet is this Pico Neo 3 business, right? So Space Slurpies just came out on Pico Neo 3. So what does that even mean? What's important about that, Alexander?
Yeah, absolutely. So definitely our summer has been a lot of new business opportunities for Space Slurpies, which if you're going to build new worlds, you also got to pay the bills, right? And so this is great for us to have these new opportunities and a lot of porting. You know, I think a couple months ago, you saw that we were a launch partner with HTC on the Vive Focus 3. And then now we're very proud to announce that we just launched on Pico. And so Pico is an exciting company because the international market is huge. I discovered this a lot when I worked at HP because I travel. And I remember I was in Beijing and someone was like, you know, if you claim 1% of any market in China, that's more than if you claimed 90% of that market in the US. That's more people. It's just, you know, millions of people. And it really put in perspective. And I was like, you're right. There's a big world out there. And we want to work with these international partners. And Pico's a big one. Pico, I think by most standards, they're ranked number one, kind of they're the industry leader in China, but also internationally, a lot of other countries that Facebook is not allowed in, and so opens up new markets. But they're not even the only one. So in the same week, and we didn't intentionally plan this, so hopefully they don't get mad. But actually, in the same week that we're announcing that we launched on Pico, we also launched with Nolo Vr. Nolo Vr has a standalone headset, very popular in China. I know it's leading on like JD.com and places where they purchase these headsets. And so they're another Chinese-based partner that we're very happy to be working with and released on. And both of them we ended up releasing before the upcoming Chinese holiday. And for us, we're just really excited because we think these are like expanded markets. These are, opening up opportunities for users that they wouldn't have been able to be exposed to our games, can now get access to them.
Congratulations. That sounds
Thanks.
like an amazing way to get your games on more headsets and get some more money in your pocket. So this Nolo thing, like, what is this? Do you have one of these at the crib? Like, what's like?
I
do. You got it there?
Oh, we've got so many headsets.
So
over
is
here.
this good? Is it a good headset? Tell us about it.
So here you go. This is the Nolo VR headset. Like I said, I think one of their main sales channels is on like JD.com, but I'm sure they sell at other places as well. And I know that they've primarily been focused on the Chinese market. So to be honest, I wouldn't know for sure if you can get it in the US yet, but I know that like they have talked about expanding to other regions, and we've had discussions with them about other places in the world that they're planning on shipping. And so I think it's one to keep an eye on because they've worked with a lot of the other big companies on tracking, and hopefully I get this detail right. I believe this is their first standalone headset, but definitely they've been like building out their portfolio, and so this has been an interesting one for us. And one of the reasons that I'll just like share a little story that we enjoyed working with them is they reached out and they said, hey, we'd be interested in putting Space Slurpies on our headset. And I asked the question, how did you hear about us? And I've heard from other places like, oh, we looked at, like with Fire's Popper, on Steam, it was trending or something like that. Or, we saw these announcements. And in this case, the contact that I talked with, she said, my friend sent me the game and was like, you need to play this. And then she played it, loved it, and was like, no, we need you on our headset. And so as developers, we get excited when people love our games. And so when they shared that, I said, okay, let's partner. That's all I need to know.
That's unreal,
if they're
dude.
passionate
That's
about
awesome.
it, then we should work together.
Wow, very cool. And I prior to the show, I had no idea that Nolo actually came out with their own standalone headset. I've used Nolo products before. I've used their tracking solutions for certain things. Like me and Alex were at CES one year, and we were trying the Hawaii 3 DOF glasses, but with the Nolo attachment, it was 6 DOF, and it tracked really well.
I actually loved it.
Yeah, Nolo didn't used to get the most love, but I feel like they were developing something, and they are a lot better now than they used to be. So it's very exciting to see another company like this getting into the headset game. Especially even if it's in Asia, right? Because eventually that stuff will eventually spread out through the rest of the world, right? When the market gets bigger. So it's exciting.
Absolutely.
Super exciting.
And the way I see it is like there's always devices at lots of price points and lots of availabilities to meet different types of customers, right? And at Starrcade Arcade, something we talked about is like we are very anti-gatekeeping. We think that there should just, there should be equal access, equal opportunity. And that said, usually we're talking about that in terms of like development and getting games out there. But that said, we also believe that in terms of the hardware and the headsets. And so if more people want to enter the headset game and elevate VR as a whole, then absolutely we support that. And that's a part of the reason we do these things is, we want to stop the conversation of acting like there's only one company out there ruling VR. There's not. There's other people entering the game, and technology moves pretty fast. So the more we can help all of these companies move VR forward, and then those visions of XR and the shared realities that we want will come to life.
So I think one of the most exciting and probably the company that has the biggest chance of breaking into the worldwide market, I would think, would be HTC, because they already have all of their own PC VR headsets, and they've been working on things like the Vive Focus, the Vive Focus 2, and now they have this beautiful headset, the Vive Focus 3. And to me, like, I really want to get my hands on this headset. What's it like getting to be like a launch partner with these guys, being one of the first games to be on this standalone HTC headset?
It's incredible. It honestly is. And, I would just have to, like, if anybody from HTC watched this, I'd have to say huge thanks, because the truth is, I'm not going to lie, HTC took a bet on us. They were working with a lot of bigger studios preparing for this Vive Focus 3 launch. And, even though it was a commercial focused headset, somebody said, hey, we actually need some games because everybody needs to learn how to play VR, get immersed in VR. And so I know they're working with a lot of bigger studios and developers. But, we have a few advocates within HTC that actually knew us from Virus Popper. They stuck up for us and said, I think you should give these guys a chance. And for us, when somebody chooses to take a bet on us, we're going to make good on it. And so when we got the email of, hey, are you interested in developing for the Vive Focus 3? We said, absolutely, we'll get it done. And then when I got the second call of, hey, do you think you could get it done by launch? We'd need it ready in 4 days. You just say yes. You stay up all night, you just say yes. And so that's exactly what we did. I mean, it was a very short timeline because, it's just, it kind of came together at all the right time. But we're just hugely grateful that there's people out there that within HTC that said, you know what, big development studios are great. I'm glad they're moving IP forward, but there's indies doing great things too that are very capable. And if we give them the opportunity and chance, then they can also make us look good and work with us well. And so, we try to make the process as seamless as possible for them too, and make sure that our app only needed one QA test. They didn't reject it or turn it back even once, because we were we're giving them a polished build.
Nice.
And we're giving them something so they don't even have to question working with indie devs.
Dude, Space Slurpies might be the most adopted VR game out there. Is it on more headsets than anything else?
I'll tell you, I've seen multiple Starcade Arcade titles in the arcades as well, and I know Space Slurpies is coming to the arcades, so it is everywhere.
I think that's our goal.
What game is on more?
Saying the most widely adopted game in VR is kind of the goal. And honestly, with some of the conversations we're having, I don't think it's impossible.
I don't think you're far off. What's more? What's more widely adopted? What's on Pico and Oculus and HTC Vive
and Nolo
and Nolo? What's on all of those?
And the arcades and PCVR
and anything.
Yeah. Things I can't say because of NDAs. Dang it.
Right.
Well, what about
more headsets? Let's go.
So what about
I'm not pulling that thread.
Oh, PlayStation,
yes.
baby.
Yes,
Let's go.
So
Woo!
Original PSVR. Any plans on original PSVR release or?
He can't say. Okay, that's what he just said.
But
we
PSVR
guessed
2 maybe, right?
PlayStation,
okay,
for sure. Well, original PlayStation, right?
Original PlayStation VR.
That's old.
Yes.
PlayStation. That's something that actually PlayStation is really easy to work with. With Sony, they make the process very easy for indies and developers. In fact, I've noticed a lot of attention. We are partnered with them, on official terms, on a legal basis. And in the past few months, I've seen this resurgence of them opening up these indie talk sessions and forums where they've specifically created little mini conferences for indie devs to learn more about their system and store. Because I don't think people on the outside realize PlayStation and Sony's huge. I mean, they're so global, their system's so massive. It's pretty difficult to navigate just because of the size, but they're very transparent. On day one, they send you information here's where you're going to send your PR stuff if you want to be featured on YouTube. Here's where you're going to access to send your builds. Here's how to schedule with our QA team. They don't play games. They're very transparent. Now, as an indie studio, I have 2 original PlayStation VRs sitting over there that I haven't touched yet just because of time and technical constraints. It's something that we like we want to do, but we haven't had time yet. Probably if like we were able to get another developer to help out, we'd do it. So that's kind of like where we're at right there. But I mean, we love their moves they're making, with their announcements, and so.
But you don't love their moves.
Next generation's really interesting.
Right?
I love the moves they're making, but you don't love the moves.
Right? See, I would think that would be an interesting challenge, right? To be able to, because you have to really be able to turn around a lot and quickly with games like Space Slurpies, because the world is around you and everything you need to do is around you. So, and there's constraints, right? Because this is an optically tracked system with a camera that you have to be standing in front of. So I can see how this could pose some problems, but at the same time, it's like the only headset in the world that you're not on, right? That's going to be some motivation right there.
Yeah, it is the motivation. You're right. Dang it.
So
my co-founder's gonna OCD is gonna kick in. He's like, you're right. That's the only one.
Do it.
It's all right. Very good. PlayStation VR confirmed. We're confirming a lot of Starcade Arcade stuff on the show today. So I want to do something a little I don't know, maybe fun here in an effort to get a little bit more information about some of these headsets that you've got sitting at your house. So maybe what we could do is you could give us a pro and a con for playing Space Slurpies on each of the platforms that it supports, right? So you've got
that sounds super fun.
Right?
Let me grab them all.
Yeah, right. Grab every single thing. Go
give me
grab them.
10 seconds. They're right over there.
Grab them. So we've got
8
Oculus Quest,
Pico
Neo 3, Vive Pro, Steam,
Rift,
which is Oculus, I guess, right? I guess we'll call that another platform.
Oh, it is.
It is. You're right. Yeah. But Index isn't.
No,
Steam.
It's not its own platform. It's a SteamVR, so that would kind of fall in the same bucket with the Vive Pro, Vive Pro 2.
But really, what I'm trying to get at, Alexander, right now is what sucks about this Nolo headset and what's good about it, and what sucks about this Pico headset and what's good about it.
Sure.
So that's what we're going to hear.
Sure.
But he doesn't want to slam them.
Oh, of course not. You can't be slamming your partners, right?
So that's why we have to do it like this.
Right. Pros and cons. Pros and cons. Very easy. Very nice.
This is a nice, approachable. All right. So hold up a headset. Let's see what you got there.
Okay. And I will choose my words carefully. I have to be very
you will.
Of course.
Here.
You will. Of course.
You do.
But I think it's informative, right? I think it's important. It's a very valid question.
Hey,
right?
They need to know this stuff. You know what I mean? They need to know your perspective as a developer.
So do our viewers, and so do we.
Yeah, what we need to know.
So do we.
They need to know. I agree. They need to know.
Inquiring minds want to know.
What you got?
So let's start with Windows Mixed Reality.
Ooh, we didn't even talk about that one. Heck yeah, that's another platform. Are you on the Windows Mixed Reality store? I mean, I know you can play through Steam,
not on the Windows store, but
there is full compatibility.
We got the feedback that everybody with these is just playing through Steam anyway.
Yeah, sure. Gotcha. So it does work. It's fully compatible.
We asked those questions to people who would know, and they were like, don't worry about it. If you're on Steam, you're good. We do test it and QA it. I mean, everything has to be tested, right? Friends and family, hey, put on this headset, play Slurpies for an hour because I'm tired of it.
Right. All right. So so what's a pro for playing on Windows Mixed Reality?
Okay, so I think the pro for Windows Mixed Reality, maybe it's not specific to Space Slurpies, but just in general, I'll comment that there is some integration with the OS, and I see Microsoft push that further, and so that's when I look at this headset, that's where I see the potential. But we kind of know how that goes. I think that the con is they were some of the first in the space to try the sensorless tracking. And so anybody who's played with a mixed reality headset knows that you get that controller drift pretty bad and you can lose track of your controllers. But, kudos to them for trying the inside out tracking. And I think they really pioneered the space and kind of were there first of not having to put up lighthouses or stands or anything like that.
Yeah. And that is that looked like a Samsung Odyssey Plus probably, right?
That was nice. Samsung.
And that was actually my first PC VR headset.
Nice.
Was a Samsung Odyssey. So, and it was great, man. The screen, wow, it was so high resolution. The headphones were amazing, but you had the controllers and Samsung. The controllers, and Samsung is the one company that tried to improve upon the original Windows Mixed Reality controllers, and they changed it, I think, as much as they were probably allowed to. right? But
Yeah.
still, fantastic headset for Windows MR. So
Yeah, definitely. And I think like another one that we've seen, I don't have it, is like I know HP was working really hard on like kind of making the best of the Windows Mixed Reality headsets.
Yes.
I was thinking I think that was their goal at least, because they had like
the
the highest
reverb.
resolution display. So I've used that and been like, wow, that is pretty crisp. But again, I think they still like that tracking is their Achilles heel.
It needs to be on,
just
dude.
some of the other solutions.
It needs to be on. Like, this is virtual reality. Like, you can't fudge that.
And you see with the HP Reverb 2, right, that they actually, I think it's the only Windows MR headset, correct me if I'm wrong, everyone, but that has more cameras than the normal 2, right? And I think it probably works the best out of all of them. So HP kind of took the whole Windows MR thing and really ran with it, and I think worked with Microsoft to really make it the best that it could be under its constraints. So yeah.
And I know that definitely like HP worked to integrate more sensors and I think other things than, some of the other OEMs were doing. So they really did try to differentiate. And, I'm going to pat any technology company on the back that's like trying to push the space forward.
And
right? That's all we want to see.
They again changed. They took a lesson out of Samsung's book, and they took those controllers and they changed them again. But this time they put probably the biggest deal on there, which is the thumbstick, right, and the A and B buttons. Because I mean, the original had a thumbstick, but there was no A and B. It was also a touchpad on there, and it simulated A and B buttons, or but it just didn't work great. So they kind of went the Oculus Touch route and really made the controllers probably the best they can be. So, props to them.
What's next?
Yep. The hard part's figuring out the order, but okay, let's do this one next. So here I have. And I kind of want to address this one because most people, I assume, especially on the chat, have not used one of these before. But this is, you're looking at the Vive Focus 3. So this was a commercially released headset. A lot of interesting choices. And what I would say this is my Alexander's Headset Awards, is it would probably win the award for most comfortable headset. They tried really hard. And the reason, as I talked to me, was they wanted a headset that a user, if it was going to be used for work, could wear for 8 hours. And so there's a few design choices. One, they put the battery in the back, which is the only headset that I have over here where the battery's in the back. I think. I don't know if that's true, but yeah, I'm pretty sure. They have this big old battery in the back as like a counterweight and balance to keep it centered. Definitely like the padding cushion choices, but then they also have a fan. And so they have an actual fan that keeps the face cool. And I'm sure we've all felt the experience where you have a headset and then you get kind of sweaty underneath. And honestly, I don't get that way when using this one. They went for that like most comfortable approach. And even though it's like bigger, I think they definitely succeeded in that.
I'll tell you, that's a sexy headset.
It looks beautiful.
It is absolutely gorgeous.
It is beautiful.
I love some of the design choices they made with that. I like that you can pop a battery out of the back and put a new one in. I thought it was a little weird that there wasn't a small battery in the front so you could take the battery out of the back without shutting the headset down. I feel like that was a little bit of a missed opportunity, but still, beautiful headset. Dying to get my hands on one of these things, and I would love to see this one day compete against the Quest 2. Or
it does.
Well,
I thought it has
the battery does
swappable.
detach.
Yeah,
it does, but you have to shut the headset down to do it. You can't just pop it out and then pop a new one in, right? Because that's what hot swap means.
Yeah,
a hot swappable battery means hot, like the device is on and you can unplug the battery and put a new one in. So that's the only thing that I have. And I thought it was also interesting too, that I thought it was kind of cool that you can plug right into the side of the headset like a split wire to then charge the controllers directly off of the headset, which I thought was really neat.
So what would be a con for using the Vive Focus 3?
I think it's actually, you mentioned the controllers, and I'm not sure I like chargeable controllers because once they're dead, they're dead.
Yeah.
A lot of the headsets just use the like AA battery that goes in the controllers and it works, right? If it dies, you just put a new one in. So
and you continue
I think that was one thing I kind of was like, okay. Now, I mean, I've never had a problem with that. Like the batteries haven't died. I think they made good choices knowing that they wanted it to last a long time. And so I haven't seen an issue with battery life, but it was just a design decision. I was like, I don't know.
Damn.
I don't know.
So it doesn't sound like much of a con to me.
No, and this is interesting because I think the biggest gripe anyone has with any HTC product is with the controllers, right? You look at the Vive wands that haven't been updated since the dawn of time, and everyone's screaming for new Vive wands. And then you had the Cosmos that came out, and everyone's like, what the hell? You guys finally had a chance to redesign the controllers, and this is what you came up with, right? But now these controllers look absolutely great. I mean, as far as they look comfortable, I haven't used it, so I can't really say what they're actually like, but they look fantastic. They look comfortable. They look like they made all the right choices as far as ergonomics and design went. But maybe you can speak to that.
Yeah, well, that one's a bit hard because I know for sure the controllers I have were like early dev unit. And so sometimes like I think the design changed a little bit. So I don't feel like I can actually talk to like the comfort and usability because I've just seen like a lot of those things get optimized in like the final stages of development.
Okay, gotcha. Well, that's
just being honest on limitations. I mean, we work with some of the early hardware, right?
Yeah, of course, and it's a big deal because HTC has, I think, they needed to put a lot of time into the development. So it's good to see that they didn't just kind of design it and be like, okay, this is final, right? And they continued to work on it, and so that's great.
Yeah.
That's great because
they're super comfortable to hold. I think they have like a kind of like a soft grip, and they're very comfortable holding.
Damn. So let's segue into the Quest because the Quest is the standalone headset that everyone has. And I personally am super jealous of your Vive Focus 3 and like wish I had one of those to fuck around with. So maybe you can compare the two and the Space Slurpies experience on both.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so the Quest 1, I mean, everybody knows it's a pioneer of the space, like really the first mobile VR headset. So they get the accolades there, but it is the older generation. So it is the worst performance, right? It's not going to be able to compete with the newer headsets. Again, if I'm being fair, it's because it's older and it was first, right? And I think Oculus knew that, which is why. So I guess Pro, yay, mobile VR introduced, right? Con is early stages of mobile VR introduced.
And real quick, I'm gonna say Pro is an OLED screen in there too. You get really deep blacks and good contrast. So I just want to throw that in there.
There you go.
Yeah, and then we get our Quest 2, right? And as you know, Quest 2 gets more performance. The display's pretty nice. If I'm being honest, I think Space Slurpies looks better in the Vive Focus 3. I believe they have a wider field of view. The colors just seem to pop. And it could be content dependent, but we have a lot of colors in our game. And I just really feel like when I put on the Vive Focus 3, like the colors just really shine. Now, the Quest 2 it's a solid piece of hardware. Obviously, it's a great headset in terms of hardware. Biggest con is that I don't have a Facebook account.
Wow. You don't have a Facebook account.
Now, tell me, is that the actual Quest 2 or was that the Quest 1 that you upgraded with that can of spray paint?
Oh my gosh.
Oh my God.
Users know what you're talking about. This exists. This is a real thing.
This is
so hopefully
sacrilege.
you guys, I know, right? Hopefully you guys follow Starcade Arcade's TikTok account or their YouTube videos, or because there's some funny stuff. And they actually upgraded a Quest 1 into a Quest 2 and taught us all how to do it. So
yeah, so as we know, since the biggest difference between the two Quests was the color change, wink, wink, just kidding. I did say their performance was better and their screen was better. But we had tried to create our own Quest 2 by using white spray paint. Follow us on TikTok for more craziness.
That is terrible. Someone delete this.
Oh my God,
delete
so
that.
Funny.
Burn it with fire.
It's so fun. Okay, like when I came up with the original idea for the TikTok, I wanted to fake it. I was going to spray something black and just like edit it. And then Brandon was like, no, we go all out for TikTok.
So that Quest 1 is just a fucking paperweight at this point, right? Like that thing's just going to sit there looking like shit for the rest of its life.
I scratched away the sensors.
That's what I was about to ask. I said, are those cameras covered in paint right now? Or
no, I'm guessing that was also the Quest that you used, that you took outside to the pool and everyone was screaming that you had your Quest in direct sunlight and like you were an idiot and you didn't know any better, right?
Every time we take our Quests outside, people get very upset.
Yeah.
It's just because you can. It's like, oh, I know I'm right about this. And, it's
Yeah,
like
for
people
sure.
look to
And
that.
and we've seen, and I think the thing is, we've all seen people that have taken their headset out for like 10 seconds, and then boom, their screen's yellow and all messed up, right? Because there was like a beam of sunlight that hit those lenses, and those Fresnel lenses are just like crazy magnifying glasses, and they just beam the sun in there and just destroy the screen. So, but yeah.
Yeah, we don't endorse sunlight play with headsets, but
Yeah.
sometimes it's necessary for the right visual. Do it for TikTok.
You have to do it sometimes, So like if we're gonna do some mixed reality footage here in Between Realities at the studios here, Between Reality Studios, if we're gonna do some mixed reality footage, we're gonna do it on Skiva's Valve Index. And
That's right. Yeah.
We often complain about the Index, not the headset, but the controllers. Because we don't love the trackpads on the HTC Vive ones. Way too old, way too heavy. Get that shit out of here. No analog stick. What the hell? And then the Index controllers, I'll speak for both of us, not ergonomic. For me, it like hurts my hands after a long enough play session.
And the batteries die pretty quick, and then I end up playing VR with them plugged in, and it's
There's
terrible.
that. I accidentally fucking chucked one of his controllers when we were making a video, like a Blade and Sorcery thing, because they like go over your wrists or over your hand, but no one really puts the wrist straps on for that. It's just fucking weird.
Yeah, and they don't last. I've been through 4 sets of those
Right.
controllers as well, so there's a lot of
So
cons that I'm
anyway,
talking about.
I'm just curious, because you've got every headset there, you've got all these accessories and stuff. What's your take on the Index controller?
The controller, with all of these, maybe part of the reason I don't have as many comments on the controllers is we try to take the controller as much out of the game as possible. I mean, if you've played Space Slurpies, the snake follows your hand. You
That's
only
it.
use the button to select some menus. And on one hand, it's a cop out, but it's a very intentional cop out. Like when HTC did approach us and they're like, we feel like you don't have a ton of hand integrations to figure out when you're porting over. And I'm like, yeah, that's the point. We wanted a game that could go on every headset, and I made it super simple to make it go on every headset. So yeah, I mean, with the Index, I mean, if they stick to my hands, I can play Space Slurpies. So
Right.
I don't have a real issue there.
Well,
Although
let's say
mine do tend
you're-
to die, too.
Let's say you're playing, something else. Let's say you're playing some Population 1 or something like that. Like, what do you think of the Index controllers? Can you jam on them? Do you like them?
I don't get a lot of time out of the cave to
Yeah.
play games these days, mostly.
Just tell me the Index controllers suck. All right, that's all I want to
That's
hear.
what you wanted to hear, but
Yeah.
but also you have to understand, I'm not focused on the controllers when we play in PCVR, because the best thing about PCVR is I can crank up the graphics. I get all my little pretty particle effects. So as a dev, I love PCVR because I don't have to do any of the performance optimization that I have to do to ship to a mobile headset. So by the time I get in there, I'm just like, look at my pretty sparkles. I don't care about the
Right.
controller.
Fair enough. All right, well, let's get to the meat and potatoes of this, right?
Well, what about the Nolo?
Yeah.
That's the meat and potatoes.
Oh, okay.
That's the
Okay.
fucking main course.
Mhm.
Is what I want to know about. So give me some pros and
Yeah.
cons for this Nolo headset that you have.
Okay. So, with the Nolo headset, one of the things, actually, I think one of the pros is their controllers. Let me grab it. Sorry, I know I keep running off screen.
Yeah, what the hell, dude?
Mhm.
I thought
Wow, he's saying some of the pro of this headset is the controllers, which is an interesting thing, because I'm sure a lot of people in chat right now are going, well, the Nolo controllers were always one of the things that people didn't like. So this
Right.
will be interesting to hear.
that it was like a
Okay.
Move controller almost.
Mhm. Yeah.
So, I know I just said I didn't have any comments on controllers and then I show up with them. But actually, I grabbed the Quest controllers. Oops.
I was going to say, wow, those really do not look
Jesus.
like what I expected.
I'm sorry, folks. Most of the time, our guests are like prepared when they come on to this show. Like they're not like
we
constantly.
definitely didn't spring this on him.
Yeah, no. I mean, well, no. Listen, when you come in Between Realities, you gotta be ready for anything.
Anything
yeah,
and
exactly.
everything.
It's like
Yeah,
you get the
I
shit
just need to move all of them over here.
ready.
It's funny because they are actually pretty
Oh
similar.
Wow.
my God.
This is
Wow.
probably how I get sued. But
Holy cow.
but
They are identical.
if you look, so this is the Nolo controller, and it's very small. It fits in the hand really well. Like just in comparison, to the Quest one, the Quest one's a bit bigger and broader. And so you do have, I don't know how much it would actually physically weigh, but it feels like you're holding something bigger. But the Nolo ones definitely fit in your hand very well, kind of form to it. And so I do like the buttons and like the feel of the thumbstick.
Mm-hmm.
The thing I would improve is I think this headpiece doesn't fit my head that well.
Mm-hmm.
It could also be one of those things that, like, just ergonomically speaking, different markets are different tailored base sizes. And so that could be something that just I struggled with personally, was the feel of it. And, you know, I think you can definitely tell, like, they're working on their system and then the tracking and things like that. But that's where I go back to, like, I'm just glad that there is another entry in the space and that somebody else is building standalone headsets. And I think that's great. You know,
Well,
we're going to stand
and
and help them get there.
compare the Quest 1 to the Quest 2, you know, like Quest 1 and Quest 2 are night and day almost, you know, so the first iteration is sure to have some room for improvement. And
Sure. And you know, I have some personal experience with trying technology that was designed and tested in Asian countries. You know, we have been to quite a few conventions before the world shut down, and there were AR headsets that straight up would not work for me because I did not have that structure face that is more common on the other side of the planet.
Right.
So yeah, I totally understand what you're saying there. This was probably designed heavily for you know, different types of facial structures than you might see here on the other side of the world. So
right.
Yeah, definitely. And so kind of on that note, now I will say that even though Pico's originally Chinese based, they actually have what I would say is like the second most comfortable headset in terms of like actual cushion. So if you look, there's this cushion on the back and then there's this cushion in the front.
Yeah.
It's extremely comfortable and it's just very easy for me personally to wear. Now, I did say the Vive Focus 3 was the most comfortable because I think they do a good job of cooling and things like that. But this is definitely other, like, without the cooling and the extra features like that, extremely comfortable headset to wear.
It looks really nice. Does the Pico Neo 3 have eye tracking, or is that just the Neo 2i?
that's the Neo 2i. So the base model of the 3 does not. Now, the Pico Neo 3 is designed in the same well, not designed, but it is produced in the same factory as the Quest 2. A lot of the pieces are almost interchangeable, right?
Really?
So it's very similar to the Quest 2, but the head strap is designed completely different. You know, there are some different, you know, a few different things here and there, but it is the form factor of it is very close to the Quest 2. So
We have so many head straps for the Quest 2 now.
yeah, we do.
Like so many.
Yeah.
We have one. We just got one from Kiwi, right? We've got the Elite strap. We've got the Bobo strap.
The Elite battery strap.
The Elite battery strap. I've got some random ass
Amazon
Halo strap that we had sent to us. Like I have like 5 or 6 different head straps. For the Quest 2
and
now.
if you guys are all still stuck on that rubber band version, keep tuned in here because there will be Quest 2 head straps going out to people in our audience.
Dude, so this is an interesting thing too, though, because like right now we're comparing headsets and we're talking about things like comfort and form factor and ergonomics of controllers and things like that. But even with the Quest, for me personally, it's not ready to go out of the box. You know, like it needs stuff. It needs a facial interface. It needs a new head strap. So Alexander, on your Quest 2, when you're using it to play or develop, what do you have on there? You know, do you use VR cover? Do you have a new head strap? Do you have grips on your controller too? Are you into accessories like we are?
To be honest, we haven't spent a lot of time looking into different accessories. I think we just kind of use stock, and I guess partially maybe that's the difference between like being somebody who's enjoying the content versus like developing, because we don't want to deviate too much from like the factory experience, because that's probably what majority of our users are going to use, right? And so I think we just try to treat it as much as like first time VR user as much as possible. You know, if we were tailoring and customizing it too much to ourselves, that's kind of sometimes it could be a dangerous path. I mean, it doesn't seem like it could be just by putting different grips and things like that. But if you're testing usability, then absolutely it could be, right? Because if I've made my controller feel more comfortable and fit my play style, but then I program my game using that controller, then I might miss a usability issue.
And it could be something subtle, right? Like just the tiniest little thing, but it can make a big impact.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, and in the world of development, you know, a lot of them are like adjusting tiny numbers and tuning, like how much you're turning, like how much is too much, what is the speed. And so when it's that like minute of a change, I think that's why we stay with the vanilla hardware.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense, you know, especially because as I've been kind of fucking around with these head straps and trying the new things and stuff like that, I'm kind of realizing that different accessories are like almost better or worse for certain situations. Like I don't need controller grips on my controllers when I'm playing Neo, but I do when I'm playing Beat Saber because I'm ripping those things like crazy. Similarly, I'll use Neo again as an example. The Bobo head strap, the Halo head strap, it really reduces the weight like a lot, you know, like it actually does. And we're going to do some reviews on these things soon, but the Bobo head strap reduces the weight a lot, and it makes the Quest almost feel like it's floating in front of you, which I guess technically it is.
Kind of like the PSVR does.
Kind of like the PSVR, but the PSVR, in my opinion, is a lot more like snug and like really like grips on. The Bobo, I felt, has a little bit of a looser feel and would be perfect for something like Neo, where you're spending an hour or two just like sitting there, like not doing a lot. But if I was playing Beat Saber, I don't think I would want to use the Bobo because I'm like headbanging and I'm like, my head's bobbing and I'm like having a great time. And if I'm like jerking my head around quick movements like that, I don't think the Bobo's the headset to use because it's like floating and now the thing is like wobbling, you know, and that kind of shit. So for intense stuff, I will probably use the Elite Strap or maybe the Kiwi one once I try that or something. But for chill stuff, the Bobo really makes a lot of sense. So that's definitely something that you need to keep in mind when you're using accessories.
Yeah, and for me, the elastic one is just a no for everything. Personally, personally for me, it's just terrible. It doesn't work well with my face. I don't know.
That's what Alexander's over there using every day.
Yeah.
Yep. You know, I gotta relate to my core users. What can I say? We'll all suffer together if we need to.
There you go.
So you know, what needs to be said about Space Slurpies that we haven't gotten around to yet? You know, maybe there's like a common misconception or something that you wish everyone knew when they were going into it, or something that you think bears repeating, or we haven't gotten to yet. You know, what's unsaid right now?
Yeah, well, I think it's kind of like you said. It's a game that's often overlooked, and I mean, I know I'm biased as a developer, but I'd say sometimes underrated.
Totally underrated.
Because a lot of, you know, our bigger influencers that we've reached out to and try to contact to play, we don't even get replies back from, right? And they disregard it. And so I would say, like, if there's anybody who's watching, I'd encourage you just to try it, because we've yet to have somebody try it who hated it.
Right.
And like I think the worst criticism I heard was like, well, it's not my type of game, but I still have to recommend it because a lot of people would enjoy it. It's like, okay, I'll take that.
That's great.
And so I think definitely it's one of those things, like, give it a chance. We're trying to do something different. You know, we hear all the time that like people want new content in VR. We don't want just shooters, and you know, we want other things like that. And so when a new game comes along that is a different mechanic, I think take a step back and say, hey, what are these guys doing?
Absolutely. I think that's great advice. And, you know, I was watching a stream maybe yesterday or the day before of Z-Storm Gaming on Twitch playing Space Slurpies. And if you think Space Slurpies can't be hype, think again. Because he's like going for the leaderboard, and he got it, by the way. Yeah. And he is like attacking people, you know, and like cutting hard in front of their paths. And like, if you think that doesn't look like a headshot or something, like you're crazy. Yeah. Like it is actually hype watching people compete in Space Slurpies.
It's satisfying.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing too. Like if you do have Space Slurpies, then the number one thing I tell you is play with your friends. Like if you haven't tried that yet, you need to, because we added modifiers, ridiculous stuff, new game modes, like, you know, we have the snakes get fatter instead of longer, but there's gameplay mechanics, double slurp now. There's like a never die mode, so if you don't want to play elimination based, you can play point based.
That's cool.
There's a lot of different things that you can do with your friends now that's really fun. And so if you own the game, like find somebody else who owns the game, you know, hit us up on our Discord, find somebody there, because it's it's a really fun experience with your friends. I think like multiplayer is what we envisioned. And so if you haven't tried multiplayer, you're missing out.
And for $6 at that, right?
Yeah, it's
Like
$6, $7 or something.
Yeah, I think you guys
actually we just dropped to 5 today, just so you know.
Forever?
permanently.
Sure, why not?
What?
$5?
Sure.
That's ridiculous. Like, I gotta say, I almost feel sometimes like maybe Space Slurpies doesn't get the love and people trying it because the price is too low. Like, I feel like there are people out there that are like, there's no good games for $5, so I'm just not gonna play this. Like, but you throw $20 on there, and then they're like, oh, I definitely have to try that. That must be a quality game.
Is a no-brainer at $5.
Yes, you
have to have this game. No-brainer.
Have to have it.
Wow, that's amazing.
Absolutely.
Traveling Man says the simplicity of it is what makes it work. Person,
Thank you.
he's here, says keep on slurping in the free world. Paradise Decay, who does not love Snake? That's a good,
right?
That's a good thing to mention. Yeah. Nathy's here. He says that he loves the TikTok videos that you guys are doing on social media. Thanks, Nathy, coming in here with the verified tag, flexing on us. And by the way, thank you for your kind words on Twitter, bro.
Thank you, Nathan.
You have no idea how much that
sure.
means to us, man. Like, you know, we were watching you as a content creator before we started. So to have you say amazing things about us like that, bro, means the world to us, man. Seriously. Thank you, Nathy. You're the shit. Lissa, Paradise Decay, Virtual Steve has been chilling here too. Of course, Duty Does is here. Been hanging out for the whole show. Chris Richardson snuck in here a little bit earlier.
Chris Richardson.
He was talking
What's
about
up?
the Windows Mixed Reality controller. Delirium Drew is also here.
Drew, our boy, and Patreon.
Oh, holy crap. And Mepper almost missed it, and he's got to go back and
Mepper.
catch the first part. Yeah, you're damn right, you dude, Meps. But thanks for rolling in, man. And thank you all for joining us. And thank you, Alexander Clark, for being our guest today. CEO and founder of Starcade Arcade.
Heck yeah.
Dude, thanks for being a homie. Thanks for being a part of the VR community. Thanks for making great games. Thanks for including Between Realities in your awesome game. Just thank you for everything.
Yes.
Totally. Thank you. No, it was an honor to be on the show. It was a lot of fun. Anytime. Keep watching us. We got a few announcements up our sleeve coming soon. So
sweet.
Maybe we'll be back on.
Sounds good.
Yeah,
Sounds
we
good.
would be happy to break any kind of news you guys want to break on our show. Feel free to come by.
Absolutely. Should we eject this guy out of here now?
Yeah, I'm done with him.
All right.
I'm ready.
See you later, buddy. Adios.
Bye-bye. And
Thanks.
he's gone. Brittany, my darling, loving wife is here. Catching the end of the show.
And a Patreon as well.
She is a Patreon, sweetheart.
Thank you.
I forced her
Brittany.
to. I was like, fucking sign up for that. Space Denizens here as well. What's up, man? It's good to see you.
Space Denizen. What's up, boy?
Catching,
it's Void Citizen.
Void Citizen.
Yeah, he just changed. He just likes to hide his identity. I think he's in witness protection in YouTube right now.
Okay.
Yep.
That makes sense.
Yep.
Paradise Decay, also thanks for coming in, man. Always a pleasure to have you here.
Heck yeah, P.
with
Diddy.
us. So I feel like we're good here. So
Heck yeah, man.
What's up, man? What's next week?
So next week we have the Mystical, who is another content creator here on YouTube, and he has been, he started as like just a general tech channel, and got hit with that VR bug pretty hard, and turned into all VR all the time. And the dude's great. He covers everything from the news to like digging into like deep into the software of the Quest and kind of like revealing things that are coming. And he's got a great community. Just a general all around great guy. So very excited to speak with him.
He does make some great YouTube videos.
He does.
And if you haven't checked him out yet, this is a great opportunity. Go search for The Mystical on YouTube and get yourself ready, because he will be joining us next Friday, a week from now at 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. If you haven't already, I assume you have, because you'd be stupid not to. But if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. There's a big red button. It's easy to do. Click that shit.
That'd be fantastic.
And,
it really helps us more than you think it does. So please,
yes,
please
it does.
subscribe
to our channel. Go ahead and vote for us for the VRAwards. Yes. Like I said, I'm just happy to be a finalist.
Yeah, honored and happy.
By all means,
and
by all means, vote for us. Thank you guys so much for being here. This is the best. And what do you think? Anything? Did we miss anything?
I don't think so. I think we are ready to hop into the rest of the weekend.
Sounds great.
It's kind of sad. I don't want to leave. We could just sit here. Let's just keep the stream now.
No,
okay.
it's over.
Okay. All right. It's over. It's over.
Have a great weekend, everyone, and we'll see you next week.
Bye-bye.